Selenium with Java, June 21, morning batch, online training session 7. So in the last four sessions, I already covered the all the important Java functionality, including Java ops concept, the Java file input output operations, multi-threading, along with Java collection framework. So I think hope most of the Java topics, whichever will be really used in your Selenium framework, so has been covered. So today I will continue the remaining portions from Selenium standalone part, right? And from next session onward, I will start TestNG, then Maven, and then 4 to 5 session from the framework part, data driven, keyword driven, how you can create a hybrid framework from the scratch with the help of page object model and the Jenkins one. So today I will try to cover how you can handle frames, capture screenshot, what is implicit explicit time all about, how you can perform headless browser testing with the help of HTML unit driver or Chrome browsers, how you can handle cookies, what is the importance of bioallocator, how you can select an option from the auto suggestive drop down. So frame, what is frame all about? So in some of the web page you can find like there is an embedded page within that web pages. So that is sometimes called frame. So frame is a web page which is embedded in another web page or an HTML document embedded inside an HTML document. The frame is often used to insert content from another source such as advertisement right into a web page. The frame tag specifies a frame. So sometimes you cannot visualize like whether the frame is there or not. So for that, right, you need to go to the web page and you need to search with sometimes you can visualize, sometimes you can search with like that. So suppose this is the web page, okay. So here along with frame I will show you how you can drag and drop an element in the same functionality. So here you can see here, right, there is an option drag and drop. You can see this is another portion, like it looks like another embedded page in the web page, right? So it's can contain a page. How can you get to know if a frame is there? So right click here. In case you are finding, right, view frame source, so you can easily get to know that there is a frame available in that page. Otherwise in the normal page, right, if you right click here, normal page or any Facebook page even also, if you right click here, right, maybe if you right click, so if you not find that options, right, so you can see that option is not getting there, only view page source is there, right. So even in the Facebook page also, if you right click here, you are not able to find that options, right. So if the page is frame is there, and if you right click here, you will be finding another option called view frame source along with the view page source. So that's why you can easily identify that is the frame available. Apart from that, there are also a lot of options there to get to know the frame is available or not. So in case there is a frame available, you can't sometime by seeing the page you will not able to detect it. So you need to open the application, right click, and there is an option called reload frame will be there, or view page frame source, like so then only you can get to know there is a frame options available. Otherwise, press F12 button for your keyboard in case there is a page available from your like that in your page, F12 button here. So you will be going to the insert element button here, and here press Ctrl F, right, Ctrl F, okay, and try to find out iframe, okay. One second, need to go to the element here, Ctrl F, and then iframe, okay. You can see iframe is there, right, that is frame, iframe is there, and is starting with S or C, right. So that's why you can get to know there's a frame available. In normal page, right, if you press Ctrl F12 and press Ctrl F again, Windows F12, then Ctrl F again, and then if you want to search with Ctrl F iframe, right, you are not able to get any suggestion. So there is no frame available. So that's why you can get to know there is a frame available, and in case there is a frame available, definitely you have to deal with that frame. Otherwise, you will not able to unless you are handling the frame, you will not able to proceed to the you will not able to proceed identify any element, as well as not able to perform any operation for this frame, right. User can identify how many total frame is there. So definitely we can identify element with the help of tag name iframe, right? And you can get the size here with the help of find elements, right? Because frame can have multiple also, more than one in this page, and you can get the size. So first we need to switch to the frame, then once we switch to the relevant frame, then we can perform the operation, right? So that is the different way, right? That switch to method will be there and the frame. And how you can switch to in three different way. One is the, if I know the index number of frames, so you can pass the index number, it will be starting from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 like that. In case frame size is 4, so index will be 0, 1, 2 and 3, right? In case we do not know the frame name or ID, we can definitely put the name here, switch to dot frame and ID. Otherwise, if we know the other frame different element, right? Sometimes frame classes is there, frame other properties is there, so you can go with that over. Driver dot frame, again driver dot find element by dot kind of name or XPath or classes, we can do it. So this is the three different way we can handle the frame. Okay, so I will let you know how we can handle the frame here available. Suppose say let's press it again, right? So you can see this is the frame available, right? So this is the web page. First I need to open here. So here I already created a class for day session. Okay, so in that class I am setting the properties for the Chrome driver. I am instantiating the driver with the help of web driver interface, maximizing it, and I want to open the URL right here with the help of that URL with the help of driver.get method. So I am opening the page, right, successfully. Okay, then here as and when I am opening the page, I want to drag and drop that element, drag and drop, right? So it is available in the inside the page. So I need to inspect the element first. One is the draggable object, one is the dropped object, right? So if you press your here, you can see for the that one, drag me to the target, you can see there is a div ID available, droppable, right? Okay, so I can consider this as source, right? So I will be storing into wave element source equal to driver dot find element by dot ID, and I am giving the ID here, not that one, that one. ID is the that one, droppable. With the help of ID I can give it. Similarly, where I need to I need to drag and drop, so I will be dropping that here to here, right? So that is my destination or target. You can see this is the ID is droppable. Okay, sorry, one second. This is my ID drag. Okay, the ID is draggable, not the droppable. Okay, so that is the ID here. And you can see there's an error message, so I will be importing the web element class from the org.openkey.selenium, and similar way I will be creating another web element for the target where I am placing the draggable item, right? So which is nothing but I can inspect it with the help of ID. You can see the ID is droppable. If you still have any confusion, just here search with that ID, Control F and press T. You can see, right? So with the help of droppable, you can inspect it. Again, you can inspect it, and here, because that is the above tag, deep tag, and ID is that, right? If you select that ID, you can see that is getting highlighted, dropped one. Okay, so that's why I can get the two part. One is the source and one is the target, right? And here you can see here, as and when page is getting open, right, I am unable to get it, right? So I need to move my cursor down to some pixel so that I can get the element. Otherwise, my operation will not be successful. So in the last I think last few sessions back, right, I already showed you how to move your kind of that part, right? I mean some pixel, right, and or move down, move up, or right down or left right kind of stuff. how you can rotate your cursor. Otherwise it will not be possible for you to inspect the element. Okay, so you have to move so that it will able to go to that particular position, and then you can perform the operation, right? So we can scroll down, right? Vertically or horizontally we can scroll down. So in the previous session you already see, with the help of JavaScript executor, which is an interface, we can scroll down, right? Scroll up, scroll down, scroll right, scroll left, like that. So I'll be scrolling through that options first, right? So let's see how much we need to scroll up or scroll down. So I think 200 pixels will be fine, otherwise we will change it, right? So we already got it. So let's, before scrolling down, before getting the source and element, just do the operation of scrolling down, right? So that options will be visible, drag and drop. Otherwise it will not perform the operations, because it is not visible, then how can I identify it, right? So let's create an JavaScript executor, create an object, for instance, for the interface executor. As is the interface, you cannot directly create an interface directly, so you have to typecast driver, right? So I think in the last session I already discussed. Into typecast driver. Okay, so you need to import the JavaScript executor from the org.openq.selenium. So once it is created, so I can go to some pixels, right? So dot execute script. You can see execute script is coming, and here I can provide the argument, right? So I will need to, right, scroll vertically down by 200 pixels here. I need to scroll vertically down to fit to that particular element, vertically down by 200 pixel. Right. So here I will be giving window.scroll by, and my x-axis will be 0, my y-axis will be 200, right? So here I am giving that is the thing already covered in the previous session. Window dot scroll by SC scroll by, right? SCROLL scroll by, and here I will be giving x-axis as 0 and y-axis may be 200, so that I can move it to 200 pixel. And once it is done, I'll be ending with the bracket and the colon. So that's why I can move it to 200 pixels, so that I can vertically down it 200 pixel here, 200, so that that particular part will be visible. After that I can drag and drop, right? So I already got it, and before that I need to switch to that frame, right? So how can I switch to the frame? Here I already discussed. These are the three options. So first I need to switch to the frame with the help of switch to dot frame. Either I can give the frame number and frame ID or web element kind of stuff. So here if you check with the details of the frame, right? So let's start with that frame, iframe. Here go to the element and here try to search with iframe. Okay, you can see the iframe tag is static. Here you can see there is no name available, right? Only class name is available. So some of the frame can have name or ID. Here only I can select with the either the class attribute or the index, because only one frame is available, right? So I can definitely index will be 0, or I can get the size of the frame also, right? How can I get it? So so we can get all the frame with the help of tag name, right? So let's try to find out all the frame by tag name. So driver dot finds element, finds element here, and I can get by dot tag name. So what is the tag name? Tag name will be definitely iframe, right? Iframe. and it will give you the list, but I want to get the size here, dot size, right? How many frame is there, dot size. Okay, you can see the type is integer, so return type is integer. I can store because it is size, it will give you numeric value. So suppose say int I want to store in integer data type frame number, right? Total how many number of frame is available, number, that is the variable I am storing, right? After that if I want to print it, so so I can give it total frame available in web page is or are I can give it, I can concatenate it, right? Here I will be concatenating it with the help of that variable. So that variable will be appended here along with that message. You will be getting it in the console, right? After that, once I handle the frame, right, I need to go with the index here or with the class attribute. So first I will go with the index so that I can switch to the frame. After that I will inspect those elements source and target, right, and then I will definitely perform the operations, right? So I will be going switch to the element, driver dot switch to. So that is the method I am using here, switch to dot frame and frame index dot frame, right? You can see there is 3 different criteria will be there. One is the index, frame integer, name, frame name or ID, and one is the web element reference, right? Whatever class with the help of the reference I can also move to that. So index, I know it is default one 0, so that's fine. Okay, so because here only one frame number is available, so it is fine. So I am opening that web page, right, and I am navigating my kind of scroll bar to that 200 pixels so that those two options will be visible, right? Then as it is a frame, I am handling the frame, right? With the frame index I am just going to that frame details, then I can perform the operation. Then I am getting the properties from that draggable options as source and dropped options as target, right, into the to my web element. So that is the operation I have completed. After that I need to, right, click on the source and we need to click on the target, right? So there is an actions class available, right? So with the help of the action class there will be drag and options available. So we will be dragging that first, right? Then we will be holding it, kind of building it and perform it. So that's why I can perform the drag and drop operation. So here we will be creating a object or instance for the action class, new actions, and here I need to provide the driver instance. Okay, so it's action class available in Selenium WebDriver. So you need to import it, right, from the org.openqr.selenium.interactions packages. So this is the action class. So that is the action class you need to call whenever you need to drag and drop some web element. You can call the action class, and then definitely with the help of the object reference you can get all the options here, right? So I will be providing that variable or created. Then you can see a lot of things coming from the action class. These are the different things available, build, right? You can see this coming from the action class, right? Click and hold, right? So you can perform the operation, double click, right click, context click. So if you want to double click on an element, so you need to use the double click. If you want to kind of right click an element, you need to use context click. So all the methods is available in the action class. So here I will be showing you how we can use drag and drop. So there will be option called drag and drop, right? Drag and drop, and you need to give source and target, which you want to click and where you need to paste, right? So drag and drop. So here I will be using source and here it will be target, right? So I will be placing those variables. Then if you press dot, then you need to build it, that particular functionality, then you need to perform it, right? So you can see after that my operation is completed, right? Okay, so that's way you can handle a frame, right? So here you are getting lot of things. So though you are handling a frame, but you are doing 3 different things. One is you are scrolling your cursor, right, to vertically down by 200 pixels so that that particular 2 options will be visible. After that you are handling the frame, you are getting it the details, all the how many frame is available, and you are switching the frame with the index number, right? After in that particular frame you are getting the source and target. Then with the help of action class you are clicking on the source and you are dragging it and you are placing in the target, right? So that are the different operation you are performing. Okay, let's try to run your code and let's see whether your operation is successful or not. It will open that web page, it will move your cursor vertically down, right, scroll bar 200 pixels. Then once this option is visible, so it will move to that frame, right, because it is a frame. Unless it is moving to the frame, we can't perform any operations. Then we are identifying source and target element, we are dragging the source and you are placing it to the target. So it will open the page. So you can see here it is opening the browser first. It will maximize the browser. So it will open the page. It will scroll down vertically by 200 pixels. Okay, you can see after that you will click on the drag and it's dropping, right? Drag me to the target. So my operation is completely fine. So here you can use three different concepts of Selenium WebDriver. One is scrolling vertically down, one is handling the frame, and one is with the help of the actions class, right? You are using those methods, right? Drag and drop, build and perform. So you can see total frame is the web page is only 1. That is the reason only index you are using 0, right? So index I have used it. Next time I want to use the other properties of the frame, right? Because you already seen the frame, there is a class available, right? The frame, there is a class name available. So with the help of class name also I can handle the frame, because there is no name or ID available. So this is the two attribute available for that frame. So you can get a lot of frame where name and ID is there, so you can handle it with the help of name or ID, right? Here I will be providing the name, it will string, index will be integer, and here class will be web element, right? So I will be using here driver dot switch to, right, and here I will be giving the difference. Here I will be giving web element, so it will be same driver dot find element. We want to find with the help of class number, right, by dot class name, right, and I will be providing my class name. So that's why I can identify and move to that frame, switch to that frame. Why it is getting error? Driver dot switch, oh sorry, I need to give the frame only, right, dot frame. Here I will be using that one, right, option, so web element. So it will be driver dot find element here by dot class name, and I will be providing the class name. Okay, now let's try to run the code. Here I have used index, here I will be using the web element, which is the class name reference. So same way also it should work, it does not have any problem. It will give you the open the page, maximize the page, provide the URL, it will move down your cursor by 200 pixels, right, and then you can it will handle the frame with the help of the class number provided. It will move to the frame and then it will click and right operation drag and drop, dragging the element and it will placing it to the droppables options. You can see it is happening, drag me and to the target, right? So that's why we can deal with the frame. Here you learn three things. I think JavaScript executor scroll vertically down you already learned, but how can handle him and how can we drag and drop with the help of actions class. Action class also is really important for context click, double click and kind of thing. Same way you will be creating object or instance and you will be using action dot context click, double click and build dot perform. Similar way you can double click or right click, anything it can done. So action class is also important in Selenium, lot of functionality is there. One of the important is the drag and drop. Then the next one is capture screenshot. So there is no point of I want to. So why? Yeah.
Hello?
Yes.
Small doubt. Yeah. In this, yeah. Can you once again open the code? Yeah. Line number 19 user, right? Code number.
Mm-hmm.
Line number 19.
Hmm.
There have given some pixels.
Yeah, 200 pixels. 200.
Yeah.
Zero is the for your kind of horizontal, right? And it's vertically
Okay.
200. X and Y axis. In case also you need to move it to the y axis. So I already given you three different options, right, in the last session. One is vertically, one is horizontally, one is to the top, bottom of the page, one is to that particular option. So you can use any of the thing.
No, my question is, so what numbers we can give, like, because we have given.
So suppose say in case you need to check with, right, that how it is getting fixed. Okay. Suppose say in case 100 is not working, definitely you can see here. Suppose say actually if it is going to the next one, you can see here. So it should take like 100 or 200. You can check it. In case suppose 100 is not working, so you can definitely get some error message, right? So suppose say I am giving 100, right? So in case it is working, that's fine. So that is your visualization. So if you run your script one time, you can easily understand it. So maybe it can fail. I did not try it. So I just check that 200 will be fine. In case it is navigating by kind of single click to the next option, it can be an error. So it's 200 is completely working fine. I just tried. Maybe it can 100 can also work, but 100 did not also cannot work. So you can use any of the three options. You can maybe go to that particular options directly instead of pixels movement, right? So you can see it is not complete. You can see that portion is part. So next, okay, it is also still working. Okay. So it will depend. Okay, now it did not work. I have manually clicked. You can see some error message is coming. Okay. Move target out of bound exception. That exception will be coming because you are not able to visualize that item, right? So that is the exception will be coming. Move target out of bound means you are not able to visualize. That is the reason your proper movement is required. So sometimes even if you do not move, it will work. You already seen in my last videos, right? Last session. But sometimes it does not work. So that is the reason your kind of movement is required to the bottom of the page to the particular element or some pixel in X and Y axis, both the Y.
Thank you.
Yeah. So next one is capture screenshot. So capture screenshot is very pivotal in your kind of any kind of testings, right? Unless you are capturing any screenshot, so what is the evidence, right, that you are doing something? So in case you are doing functional testing also you need to capture screenshot, because in case you are logging some defect and in case you are not providing any screenshot to the defect, developer will definitely reject the defect because they are saying that you are just kind of, maybe sometimes they can fix it, you will not able to see and they can reject the defect with that part. So capturing the screenshot for the test execution is one of the very important tips in any of the automation which help user to identify defect and problems by referring the screenshot. So Selenium WebDriver provides text screenshot interface. So this is the interface name, text screenshot. Selenium WebDriver provided. With the help of that, we can capture a screenshot of the web page when an exception occurred, or maybe sometime we need to take the screenshot of the fail or past test case as well, right? So whenever a tester tests any application, maybe many of the functionality not working compared to the expected result. So tester log this defect and tell the developer about the getting defect in the code and suggest to fix the defect or bug to retest once again. However, developer never accept a defect without required evidence and details. Developer needs the required evidence to analyze the issue. That's why taking the screenshot is one of the mandatory evidence to view and understand why the test has been failed. User can take any screenshot with any of the format. It can be JPG, JPEG, and PNG format. These are the different possible scenario where we need to capture the screenshot. Applications issue, applications failure, assertion failure, right? Difficult to file element, timeout exception or exceptions during some kind of exception during the runtime. So how can we capture the screenshot? So it is a 3-step process, right? First, we need to create an object code instance of the text interface. At its interface, we need to typecast with the driver, right? So then we will be calling the get screenshot method, get screenshot as method, right, to create an image file, and will be with the help of file class will be storing as a source file, right? Okay. So user need to call get screenshot as method to create an image file which is provided by the text screenshot interface to capture the screenshot of the web page displayed in the driver object, right? Here the argument output.file specified in the screenshot as method will return the captured screenshot in the form of file. Therefore, user can store the variable src with the file type, right? Once we storing the source file, right, after that we need to provide to the some destination file. We need to store actually somewhere, right, because source file is the your temporary file. So with the help of file handler class available, right, and where we will be having the method copy, right, we can go on place the source file to the destination file. That is my original path, and then only that path, if I navigating that path, I can get the screenshot. Suppose here we are moving our draggable item to the droppable item, right? After that I want to take a screenshot. So I will be creating an object or instance first, right? So text screenshot interface, okay? So ts text screenshot, that is my variable name, equal to, I need to, and here it will be driver. As interface I need to typecast with driver. So here error message is there. You need to import it, right, from the var0.7 care Selenium. So that is your first part. Then you will be using the file class, and you are using any source file, right, equal to, you will be using that variable and dot screenshot as method and output dot file, because type will be file. So text screenshot interface variables, then get screenshot as method, right, you can see output files, output type dot file. So here I will be using output type dot file. It is giving you suggestion, no need to worry sometime. Okay, it is coming. So that is my second step. This is my first step and this is my second step. Output type, you can remove that one. Export. So we need to import that one, right, from java.io. Okay, this is my second part. I am creating object creation for the text screenshot interface. So I am time casting driver, and I am source file where I am temporarily storing the source file, right, and with the type is file. Then that source file I need to place somewhere as a target file, right, destination file. So I will be creating a variable for destination file, dst or target file or destination file, that anything is fine. Dst destination file will be, I will be giving the path of my file, right, with the help of new file, and here I will be giving the path of the file with the proper extension. So say I want to store in some drive, right. So just you can give the path here. So if you want to store in the drive, so there is a folder called Selenium, right, I can store it. Let's remove everything. Okay, so there is nothing is there in the folder, everything is empty. So I will path as drive with the double quote drive and then Selenium, and suppose here I want to give any path as test.png, right, I can give it. So in that path I want to store it, right. Then with the help of file handler class I will be printing my source, moving my source to the destination file. So I will be using file handler dot copy, it's a method we can see, right, and source to destination. So right, because it is a file, so you need to add some exceptions, right. So it is Java property, you no need to worry. So that's why I can capture the screenshot, right. So let's see whether my screenshot is getting captured or not. Dragging and dropping is happening, and right, and it should take the screenshot as well. Let's go to the drive again. Oh, I have given semicolon, right, you can see here, not the colon, so it is getting failed, right. So you can see the error message as well, Java file IO exception, right. The system cannot file the file path, because how can you find? I have given semicolon, not the colon, right? So you need to change. So based on your result, you can easily find what is your error. So file path is not able to find, so definitely you can check whatever file path you have given, right? So here I have given, instead of colon I have given semicolon, right? It should be colon. So now I think it should be fine. Let's try to run it and let's see whether it's running properly or not. Okay, it is happening. Let's see now. My test case is first. Yeah, test case, there is no error. And if you go to your D drive, you can see there is a test folder, right? Test.png file created. If you open it, so you can get the screenshot here. So I'll be opening it any of my relevant formats. So let's open it with the Paint. And let's see whether the screenshot is there or not. But remember, screenshot you need to take for most of the steps, most of the assertion verification, right? You can see that screenshot is captured, right? So that is the reason, instead of hard coding your screenshot, it better to create a method for screenshot, and then as and when it's required, you can call the screenshot. And here, instead of giving any hard coded path, you can give some path so that that file will be created, because in case you are giving the hard coded path and next time if you want to store it again, so previous file will be replaced and your new file will be stored in the same name, right? Because in the same name multiple file cannot be there. Either you need to manually change the path again or need to give it new name, otherwise the previous file will be replaced. So that is the reason, instead of hard coded, you can use some of the millisecond system.current millisecond format, so that if every time new screenshot will be created, you no need to manually give it. And also you can create a method or functions. So how can you method a functions? So you already know, whenever you want to create a method, it will be class level, right? So I will be creating a function which will be static in nature, so that I can directly access that method or function. Public static, suppose void, and then any of the method name, right? Capture screenshot, say. That is my method name, right? And this is my method body. Here I will be putting my body. So here I will be cutting paste my code, right? Same way. So instead of that, I will be cut paste my code, and I will be capturing in my method, so that every time I will call the method, right? So here you can see the message is coming. Okay, here it's creating problem, right? Because the driver, it is not able to recognize, because driver I have declared in my main method level. So instead of that, so I can create a global variable, right? So that will be accessible anywhere. So I will be creating a global variable here in the class level, right? Global variable, so that error message will not create any problem. WebDriver, change the driver to static, right? Static WebDriver, and here I can just create it, driver. So we need to add throws declarations at this also. So that's why you can create a global variable, so that variable can be considered in your class level as well as any of the other class level, other program level. So that is the different definition of your normal variable and the global variable. Okay, let's select the line of code and let's do the formatting here. Formatting, and okay. So same way I am doing it, right? Here, instead of hard coding part, I can add some different part, so that it will be taking the system.current millisecond. So let's keep the path selenium till same, and for the test part I will be replacing with that some millisecond format, so that millisecond format will be taking. So definitely millisecond will be changed every time. So in case you are doing operation, so millisecond will be changing, so unique your screenshot will be captured. So that part, let's freeze it, right? And you can use concatenation keyword, right? You will use system dot current millisecond. So that will be the extension of your screenshot, right? And then plus, give plus, and then that part will be again you can add it. .png part will be adding it, right? So that's why you can change it. So there is no need to hardcode the screenshot save. So it will be stored in my D drive Selenium, and this will be your extension, right? That part, and the file format will be PNG or JPG or whatever you want to give it. Okay, new file D and Selenium, whatever folder you want to take. If you want to create any more folder, you can give the folder name. If you with the Selenium, if you want to create another more folder, you can give the name, right? And then system.milis is your format, right? And then your extension name. If you want to change it to JPG, you can change it, not be a problem. Then save source and destination file. Then say suppose I want to capture screenshot in multiple step, right? I have declared it static, so there is no need to create an object or instance, right? Because it is static in nature. So suppose say after opening the web page, I want to capture screenshot, right? So here I will be just calling that class only, right? Calling that class session 7, and once I call the class, I can immediately get the method name dot capture screenshot, right? You can get it, right? So it's fine. So after opening the page, I can take screenshot, right? And yeah, so one screenshot is done, and then after capturing the screen, after moving it right from the source to destination, I can capture one more screenshot. So fine, you can see very easily. So that is the beauty of method and function. So in the framework, we'll be creating all, you will implement listener class and we'll be using creation method, right? Every time. So that we'll be just calling those methods. And in case anything need to be changed, we'll be simply changing in the method, right? So in the real-time framework, you'll be declaring your static driver is static. So that driver will be accessible anywhere, right? And you, in case you are creating any method, that will be public, static, and void. So static. So there is no need to create an object or instance. Okay. So let's try to run it, and let's remove everything here. So only test file is there. So I'll be removing as well. So in that D drive, there is no folder there, right? No screenshot capture. Let's try to run your code, and let's see whether two screenshots has been captured. One is after opening the page, and one is after moving, dragging and drop the page, right? So it will open the page and it will perform the operations and it will capture the screenshot. Okay, dragging and dropping is possible, and let's see whether it's captured screenshot or not. You can see two files with the millisecond format created, right? And you can get the date and time. Date is today's date and time is 7:48. So if you open one file here, both are PNG file because you have given the extension as PNG. So this is your second screenshot, right, after dragging and dropping. Okay, and you can see here drag and drop happens, and this is your first screenshot. Let's select that one and let's see whether it's after opening only. Okay, you can see it is just after opening the web page. So it even did not scroll down, right? So it just only opened the web page. So that's why you can create a method, generic method, and you can capture screenshot as and when required in any of the step. In case only if you want to call only fail one, so that is the reason you need to call the listeners. But normal circumstances, if you just want to automate a particular website, and if you want to capture screenshot as and when required for the validation, you can create a method only, and then you can capture the screenshot.
Rather small doubt. So here you have created one method to capture the multiple screenshots, okay?
Not multiple screenshots, just capturing one screenshot. I am calling that method multiple times.
You're calling the method multiple times, and actually, so instead of giving that class name, so you have so instead of giving that method name, you have given that class name.
No, with the help of class name, I am calling the method, right? That is the class name because that method is available in that class. So class name dot method name. Because it is static, right? So I am not creating any object. In case it is non-static, you need to create an object every time. and with the help of object you can call the method. That is the reason in the real time you need to declare the method static, right, so that you no need to create anything.
But normally in real time perspective, actually we'll be using which one normally, static or a non-static method?
Yeah, so static, in the last session you already see, right, in case if you don't want to override it, that method you will be using static, because once you define static, so that method cannot be overridden. Got it? So otherwise you can use static. Similarly, suppose a class, if you don't want to inherit that class, either you will be defining a static or you will be defining as a final class, right? So that is the importance of this keyword I discussed in the last few sessions, like final, finally, static, non-static, all these keyword.
Yeah.
Then one is the implicit and explicit weight, right? So definitely, suppose say whenever you are dealing with a web page, sometimes that web page might take some time, right? 10 second, 20 second time to load the page, right? This is generic. Suppose if you after that if you want to click some person, it can take 20 seconds. So implicit you can use some wait time from the Selenium WebDriver, implicit and explicit wait. So implicit wait is nothing but you will be giving it as a holistic view, right? Overall page level. So that's where you can use implicit wait. But in case it's a specific instance, suppose say I want to just view only, I want to click on an element, only one element. So it does not matter for me whether the other page, other part of the page, other web element is getting loaded or not. I want to check only that particular options, and if it is visible, so I will click and I will proceed to the next step. Because my validation for that step is to just click on that element. So definitely I will be using specific wait. So it will be explicit wait for specific condition, right? So that are the different wait it should be used. Otherwise, suppose in case your page is taking 20 seconds time to load, and if you did not give any wait, so Selenium WebDriver script will try to validate in seconds, right? And your script will fail. So that is the reason you should give some implicit and explicit wait time and condition. So when a page is loaded by the browsers, right, the elements which user want to interact might take some time to complete, right, the load, as most of the web applications are developed use Ajax or JavaScript. So it makes user difficult to identify the element, and in case element is found due to page load, it will throw element not visible exception. Using wait, user can solve the problem. Primarily there is two type of wait, implicit and explicit. Implicit wait are used to provide a default waiting time between each consecutive test step or command across the entire test script. Thus the subsequent test step would only execute when that have elapsed after executing the previous step or previous test step or command. So by default it will take 0 as a timeout. Once user set the time, the driver will wait for that before throwing an exception. That is the called of implicit wait. But implicit wait can sometimes delay your execution, right? Because it will might wait maximum that time. But for every page I don't want to wait. I want to just check particular condition. So that is the reason you can use explicit wait. Explicit wait is used to pause the execution until the time a particular condition is met. Maximum time, right? But it does not guarantee that it will wait for the time. As and when it is visible, immediately it will click. So suppose you have given an explicit time wait as 30 seconds, but it is visible in a 5 seconds. So it will not wait for remaining 25 seconds. Immediately it will click and it will proceed to the next step. So that is the beauty of the explicit wait as well. So explicit wait gives better options than the implicit wait, as it will wait for a dynamically loaded Ajax element. So this is the concept of implicit wait. So it will be at the page level, and explicit wait, right, we can create an element where we can give the condition. So let's first start with implicit wait. Suppose once after the page is loaded, I want to do some operation, right? So I can give some implicit wait. So implicit will be page label. So that time it will open, right? It will wait before giving any error. So how can you do it? So you will be giving some implicit wait timeout, right? So after maximizing and before loading it, so I can give driver dot, right, manage dot timeout. Here if you use timeouts dot implicit wait, you can find this is the method available, implicit wait. And here you can give the first one is the argument, means your kind of timeout to what time you want to set, give wait, and this is your unit, right? So it will be time unit. If you press dot, you can see hours, day, second, millisecond, like that, right? So if I want only for milliseconds, so I will be giving time unit dot second, or millisecond, like that, nanosecond, whatever is there. So definitely I want to wait for seconds, right? So you can see here. Okay, so that's why you can give implicit wait. So before page is completely loaded, so it will wait minimum 20 seconds. So if you know, right, it might take 30 seconds, so you can increase it 30 seconds, so that your page loaded, it will wait for the page load, so it will be page specific, right? So it does not any effect, right? So it will wait for maximum that time in unless the page is fully loaded. So 20 seconds I have given. So in case it is not loaded within 20 seconds, then only it will throw the error. But in case you are not giving an implicit timeout, so it will try to check within a second, otherwise it will throw error. That is the reason we should give some implicit timeout, especially the first time loading of the page. And then next time onward, definitely we can give it for the explicit way, so that I will identify the specific condition and then I will definitely giving it, right? Okay, so that is the beauty of that one, implicit wait. Okay, and the explicit wait is a specific condition, right? So suppose say I want to check, right, until the plugin button is visible. Once the plugin button is visible, I will be clicking on that button, right? So that is called explicit wait, because I am just not bothered about the rest of the page. I am really bothered about only particular options, right, or a particular field, or particular drop down, or particular thing. Once it is visible, I will perform my operation and proceed to the next step, because particular step I need to just deal with that particular entity only, instead of forgetting about the other field. I am really bothered with the other field, I am bothered only particular field, right? So definitely I will be going for the explicit wait. And explicit wait, what are the different usage in case you want to find a single element, multiple web element, you want to check an web page title, URL, element status, right? If the web element is visible or not, then enable or not, clickable or not, like that, if you want to interact with the frame. So these are the expected conditions you can use for the, whether alert is present, element to be clickable, element to be selected, URL matches, right? These are the different conditions for which you can tally your explicit wait, right? So how can you use the explicit wait? Okay, so I already used implicit wait, but with the help of explicit wait, I want to check whether my particular thing is clickable or not, so that I will click on that options, right? So you need to create an variable here first with the help of WebDriver wait. So that is the Selenium kind of important part is there. So I'll be WebDriver wait. I'll be creating a variable here, wait equal to new WebDriver wait, and here I'll be giving it the time unit, how many seconds, how many minutes I want to wait. So here I'll be giving instance of driver, and then suppose 30 seconds I want to wait. So I'll be dealing that way. You can see error message is there, we need to import it. So that is the class available origin.opencube.selenium UI. So you need to remember few lines, right, so that you can easily work with the explicit wait. Then suppose say I want to, right, create a web element for that options, right? I want to click on that options, right? So definitely I will be creating a web element here. So options name is subs plugins. The web element also we can name is plugin. Okay, and here with the help of that reference, WebDriver wait reference, right? If you press dot, you can see lot of thing will be coming, right? I can check it until, right? With the help of until, I can check whether that field is visible or not, right? So I'll be using untils, and here I'll be giving the expected condition, what condition I want to check. So that condition you need to give, right? So here I have already written how you can check it, right? So wait until syntax you need to give, right? Expected conditions dot element to be clickables and locators, or element to be visible, or URL matches, that are the title contents, like that. You can give anything, right? So here I will be giving expected conditions, dot, if you press dot, you can see all the options whatever I was talking about, right? So to check it, right? So I will be checking element to be clickable, so right, by locators or by web element, whatever you can select, right? So I will be using element locator, by element locator. So here whatever locator I am giving it, so I will be want to find it, right? So let's try to inspect that with the help of F12 button. So this is a link, right? So definitely I can interact it with the help of link text. Let's see. Okay, it's a text is available, so I can interact it with the help of link text. So driver, right? So I'll be giving locator as, no need to give driver because driver is already given here. So it will be by dot link text, right? And this is the text I can give it. I think that is perfectly fine. Let's close it, right? Then I have already created my web element, so I'll be clicking on that one, dot click. Okay, so that's why I can wait it, right? So I am really bothered about the rest of the field. I am only bothered whether the plugin field is visible and whether the plugin field is clickable. So definitely it will load, and once it is clickable enough, so it will click on that button. So maximum wait time is 30 seconds. So it will wait maximum 30 seconds. In case it is clickable in 5 seconds, it will click it. That is the concept of the explicit wait. Similarly, whatever different condition is there, you can check based on a requirement. So you load the page, and once that particular option is displayed, immediately it will click on that options. You can see this clicking on the plugins button, right? You can see plugins query pages being displayed. Okay, that's why you can deal with implicit and explicit wait. So implicit wait is a page level. If you want to load page fully, irrespective of the particular field, you will be going for implicit wait. And in case if you want to check with, right, for a particular condition, specific condition, so I have tried to given all the condition here. I mean, there might be more condition. This is the important condition for which we need to use the explicit wait, and the code will be like that only. So we'll be creating a WebDriver wait, and then with that help of that one, right, we can checking expected condition, and you will be giving the condition. And if you want to give the locator value, because driver we already use, so by dot kind of find, by dot link text XPath or kind of anything ID attribute, so we can check store into the web element, and after that web element is get, you can perform the operation. Is it fine? Okay. Then next one I will discuss what is headless browser testing. So in by the name itself headless, so there will be no head, right? Browser testing. So you will be performing the operations, but you will not able to visualize your execution in the browsers. This is called headless browser. Sometimes say you do not need to visualize. You are running your script on the night run, right? So there is no need to visualize it, right? Whether happening or not, just you want to get the result. So why headless is required? So in case you do not want to visualize the browsers, it might take less resources and execution can be faster, right? So performing test execution of the web application without opening a browser is called headless browser testing. Operation will be done, but you will not able to see it, right? and in case of any failure also it will capture the screenshot as well. No need to worry. Everything will be done, but you will not able to visualize it. The headless browser acts as similar to a normal web browser. User have full control over the web pages loaded into the headless browser. The only difference is user will not be able to see the graphical user interface or GUI. Right? Even some of the applications does not have any GUI, right? So user have no options other than using headless testing. When user machine does not have any GUI, for instance, if the user want to run test in the Unix, so it does not have any GUI, so definitely you will not able to visualize the execution. So it is recommended to use headless browser when tests are executed in parallel, as user interface based browsers consume a lot of memory or resources. So your execution can be really pretty slow. So that is the reason to avoid this. Headless browser can be used for server side performance testing too. Anyone can run test cases using headless browser, then user will get the result just in a second. It will be very much faster, right? When testers have to run the test cases on the remote machine or server which does not have any browsers, but still user have to execute the test case, then they can also try the headless browser. So this is the different example of headless browser. One is the really important of HTML unit driver, Ghost driver, PhantomJS, Chrome, Zombie.js, OAuth and WebDriver. This is the different headless browser driver examples. So most importantly used is HTML unit driver. So HTML unit driver is the lightest weight and the fastest implementation headless browser for WebDriver. It is based on HTML unit. It is also known as headless browser driver. It is same as Chrome, IE, Firefox driver, but does not have any GUI, right? So these are the different key features of HTML unit driver. It supports HTTPS and HTTP protocol. It supports HTML responses. It supports cookies. It supports proxy server support. Excellent JavaScript support. Ability to customize request header being sent to the server. Ability to determine whether failing responses from the server should throw exceptions or should be returned as pages of the appropriate type. So this is the syntax you need to use. WebDriver driver, new HTML driver. So there is no need to set anything, right? Just like the path. But one thing you need to remember, you need to download HTML unit driver for the website. So it's already downloaded in my just like the Selenium jar file, you need to download the jar file for HTML unit driver. If you search with that HTML unit driver download, you can get it and you can download in your desktop or laptop. After that, you need to associate it. Let's first associate it. So how can you associate it in the project level? So similar way, you just select the project, right click here, go to the properties, right, and then just like a Selenium jar file, go to the Java build path, right. So you can see I already associated that one, right, and if you do not associate it, click on the add external jars and select that jar file, right, HTML unit driver, so that all the classes from the HTML unit driver will be you can access it, right. So it is my desktop, so I can select it, right, and I can apply and close, right. That's way you can associate in your project. So after that, right, with that particular comment, a particular thing, so you can immediately call an HTML unit driver. So that is the syntax. WebDriver driver equal to new HTML unit driver. No need to set and path everything because we are associating the driver to my project, to our project, right. So WebDriver, yeah, comment it out, otherwise it will create problem. Also comment it out. WebDriver driver equal to new HTML unit driver, right, new HTML unit driver. Okay, you can see error message is there, so you need to import HTML unit driver from that packages. So whatever you have added, right. So after that, same way, right, if you want to open a web page, you can use it directly, right, but you will not able to visualize it. But if you want to print something in your console, you can see it will be open and it will be printed, right, driver dot get title, right, or driver dot get current URL. Okay, so it will be printed in your console, but you will not able to see whether your browser is opening or your page is opening or loaded. So that part you cannot visualize it, but you can get the result. So that is without any GUI you are able to perform it, so it will take less memory and execution will be also faster. So that is the important of like headless browser testing. Let's see whether it's happening or not. Okay. Okay, you can see here, right? This is your title and this is your current page URL. So you are not able to visualize it. Similarly, if you don't want to even open your Chrome browsers, you can also do it, right? So here same way I will be using some important step. Okay, for the Chrome browser as well, if you want to execute it and if you want to get the current URL also, you can get it. Driver. Okay, because we have removed it. So how can you change it for the Chrome driver? So you will be first setting the path here. After you setting the path here, so if you don't want to just open your Chrome browser, but you want to perform your right execution, so you need to use an options called Chrome options, right? So I'll be calling a class called Chrome option for the Chrome driver, Chrome options. Okay, so here I can call as a variable called Chrome options or option equal to new Chrome option. Okay, that class I need to call and I need to import it, Chrome option class. After that, with the help of the options variable I have created, I need to make it headless browser, right? So dot, there will be methods available called set, right? Whenever you want to set something, you need to set it. So set headless, you can see that is the method is coming. So you need to make it true or false, right? Because it's a boolean only. So it will be set as headless, right? After that, you can create a object or instance for the WebDriver, right? And here you need to WebDriver driver equal new driver, and you need to provide that option, right? That variable you need to provide in that bracket. Otherwise, the rest of the code will still be same, right? And whatever you are giving it implicit time or explicit, it does not matter. You can comment out this line of code or remove this line of code. So you'll be opening the drivers, right? And you also get to title and the current URL, but you don't want to see the execution details, right? So let's try to run it. So it will be giving you the title, right? But it will not execute in the UI level. So you will not able to visualize anything in the UI level. You see, Chrome driver was started successfully, but you will not able to see whether it's opening at the UI level or not. You can see immediately you are getting the result. So that's why with the help of HTML unit driver or the Chrome driver also, with the help of Chrome options, you can do the headless browser testing. Any questions? Is it clear? Is it clear?
Yeah.
Okay, very good. Okay, so next is like how we can handle cookies with the help of Selenium WebDriver, and after that we will see two more class topics for today. So what is cookie? So everybody you know, as you are working with the computer, laptop or desktop, right? As and when you are opening something, so it will be stored your kind of history section, right? So that immediately if you want to perform your operations, if you type something, so it will be added your cookies, right? So cookies are files stored in local computer. It can be laptop, desktop, right? It does not matter whatever OS or whatever browser you are storing, and it is browser specific, containing information submitted by the website visited by a user. The information is stored in key value pair, right? One is the name and one is your address, and allows the particular website to customize its content as per the user. Every time the user load the website, the browser send the cookie back to the server to notify the website of the user's previous activity. Cookie have a specific lifespan defined by their creators. At the end of this, a cookie becomes expired. Cookies often track information like how frequently the user visits Suppose say today 20 cookies has been stored, and tomorrow you are navigating to other user, so immediately previous cookies will be deleted automatically because your capacity maximum is 20, right? Okay, so what are the time of visit, what banners they have clicked on, so it will be stored all the activity, right? So that sometime we need to delete our activity, okay, and from the activity also we can get to know what are the different thing we have done it, right? What button was clicked and what user preferences, item, the shopping cart, etc. This allows the site to present to users with information customized to fit it their need. Cookies are domain specific. A domain cannot read or write to a cookie created by another domain. This is done by the browser for security purposes. Cookies are browser specific. Suppose say you have opened some of the page with your iBrowser, so those things will not be visible in a Firefox browser or Chrome browser, right? This is really browser specific. Each browser stores the cookies in different location. The cookies are browser specific, and so cookie created in one browser will not be accessed by another browser. Some browser limits the number of cookies stored in each domain. Sometimes it can be 20, 10, 30 like that. If the limit is exceeded, the new cookie will replace the old cookies. Cookies name are very sensitive, so it is not same as usernames. Uppercase or lowercase will be same, not same. So these are the different methods available to handle the cookies in Selenium WebDriver. If you want to add cookie, you can use that method, add cookie method, right? So cookie, new cookie, and then you need to give the cookie name and the cookie value, and you can add it, right, with the help of cookie variable. If you want to get cookies, list of cookies, whatever is stored, with the help of set interface, you can get all the cookies and you can store them in the set interface. After that, you can use enhance for loop. You can get all the method name or cookie name or value, right? If you want to get the cookie for a particular name, you can do it, right, with the argument name. If you want to delete all cookie, you can use delete all methods, delete all cookies. And if you want to delete a particular cookie, delete cookie name, and this is the argument name. So that is the different methods available. Sometimes you need to deal with cookie, right? So if you open any website, right, and if you press Control H, right, Control History, right, you can see the list of cookie whatever you have accessed last time. You can get it, right? So this is the different cookie I have access, right? So you can see for that particular browser. If you open the original browser, so you can find it. So it is browser specific, so you can clear all the browser data, right, with the help of clear browser. So otherwise again it will be stored in your cookie. I want to click it, right? So you can click clear data. So that's why you can normally manually do any operation. You can add anything, right, or you can delete anything. So try to add some cookie first. After that we can delete also all the cookies. So how can you delete all the cookie? If you're opening the page also, we can, so that it will be much faster, right? So let's comment it out of this line of code here. Okay, so after instant maximizing it, we can delete all the cookie, right? So driver dot manage, that is the operation into perform, driver dot manage, right? And then if you want to delete all the cookie, you need, there will be option called delete all cookies, right? You can see driver dot manage, delete all cookies, or delete cookie with the name, right, or delete cookie with the string name. So I can delete all the cookie first. Then I will be opening in particular website. Then here I need to add some cookie, right? So I will be using that method here, cookie, new cookie, cookie name and value, right? So cookie one, cookie one equal to, right, new cookie, and here I will be providing first the name of the cookie and then the path referring to the cookie, right? Suppose say I want to go with Facebook, right, and then I will be providing the only the URL path of the cookie, not the HTTPS path. So that's why you need to capture, add your cookie in your browsers. So I'll be giving that path only, not the HTTPS path, only www.facebook path. So if it is there, I can remove it. Okay. So that is the one of cookie I have added. So I need to import the cookie class here from the var0.openkey.selenium, and then I need to add the cookie, right? So how can I add the cookie? Driver.manage.add cookie and cookie variable. Right, so driver.manage.add cookie and the variable name here cookie1. Suppose now if I want to add more cookies here, I can add it. So it will be cookie2. Instead of Facebook, I can add cookie for Google, right? So here it will be google.com. I need to remove that one. So it will be only domain, right? And here it will be 2, variable 2. So that's why I can add multiple cookies, right? After that, if you want to get the list of cookies, right? So how can you get the list of cookies? So it will be driver.manage options, you can see .get cookies, right? Get cookies, you can see this is return type is set and cookie. Set is the your interface, so you can get all the options. So similar way I can store in some variable with the return type. So it will be set, and I am giving it cookie, and I am giving the variable, so cookies, all the cookies, right? And then we need to import the set interface from the java.util package. After that, I need to use an enhance for loop, right? So you already know what is the enhance for loop. So I'll be using an enhance for loop for, because it is a string, alright. So it will be type is cookie, so I will be cookie and another variable called cookie, and then I can use COOKIE. I can use another variable like all cookies, and I'll be using semicolon, and I'll be giving the previous variable here. That is the concept of enhance for loop. And here if I want to get multiple thing, so I'll be using the second bracket, so ISO, and then with the help of all cookies I can get the name of the cookies here, dot get name, right? Similar way I can get also the value of the cookie. Okay, you can get the path, domain, everything. So that's why I can get it. Okay, now let's try to run your code and let's see. So whether those cookies are added here and you are able to get them or not. Opening the page, storing the cookie, you can also get the list of cookie. You can see these are the two cookie I have added. One is Facebook and one is Google, right? So it will come in the alphabetical order. Google and google.com. This is the value I have stored here. This is your name of the cookie and this is your value. Same combination is coming, right? Now if you want to delete a particular cookie, definitely you can delete it, right? So these are the different methods available, right? You can delete a particular cookie, all cookies, right? If you want to get only a particular cookie, you can get it with the help of name of the cookie, right? So suppose say I don't want to print all the cookies, right? I want to get only one cookie. So how can you get it? After adding, so driver dot manage, right, dot get cookie, right, named. Here you need to provide the name here. What is the name? Suppose I want to get only the Facebook cookie, right? So you can get it. Similarly with the help of your method, right, delete, so you can use delete cookie named and you can give the name here, so it will be deleted. So these are the different important methods available. Sometime and you also need to deal with in the real-time framework, maybe very less use, but I see more, I mean few of the times we need to handle with cookie, you need to store them, so that in some other reference they can use those reference, right? So that is the reasons we need to also use the cookie. Okay, so I need to get it and I need to print it out, SO method. So that can I also definitely get it. So that was the different way, right? I can deal with different cookie here. So we can add the cookie, we can get a particular cookie, we can delete all cookies, or you can delete a particular cookies. And if you want to get all the list of the cookies with the help of, right, driver dot manage dot get cookies, and we have to use the inheritance loop, so we can get the name, value, or other path, all this stuff. Then this is the one of the very important aspects, right, is by all locator. So I don't think that many of you heard that particular term, because this is kind of new thing, even I also learned it, but it is really important. Why it is important? Sometime you are identifying an element, suppose say with the help of XPath or classes or CSS. Suppose in case that particular thing is getting changed, right? So your script will fail, right? Okay, but if you want to identify element with multiple properties, right, ID or name or XPath, so definitely there is a less chances that something will change, right? So that is the reason we can use by all locator in Selenium WebDriver. So by all is a extra special locator in Selenium WebDriver which helps user to find the element based on the given locators. Locator could be any of the, like type, ID, name, class name, link, text, person, link, or whatever is relevant. So by all locator tries to find the element using the first locator. If the element is not present, then it will wait for a given implicit time wait. Once it is reaches to the maximum time wait and no element, then by all method will try to find the element, the second locator, third locator, fourth locator, like that. After that, it will give you the error message that no locator has been found or did not match. So that is the syntax. So driver.find element, we are using find element by dot kind of ID like that, but here we will be using new by all, and here we will be giving multiple reference. After that, we will be identifying, we will perform the operation here, right? So let's comment it out your code here. Right here, I can pass the reference. Suppose say for Facebook page, I want to pass the reference here. So suppose say for Facebook page, I want to identify a web element, right, called this is the name I want to identify. Let's press F12 and let's see how many properties is there for that one. So after opening the page, I'll be inspecting that element, right? So you can see for that element, right, name is there, ID is there, right, or class is there. So I can identify it with any of the important aspect, right, instead of one single element, right? So in case your email is name is getting changed to email 1, still your ID will be there. So with the help of ID, it still can be accessible. That is the reason. So it is also required, right? So how I can use that find all driver dot, you can see here that thing will be using driver dot find element, and here instead of by dot particular thing, I will be using new, right, by all, and here I will be giving reference one by one, right? By dot class name, comma, suppose by dot ID, I can give the ID. So this is my ID, suppose say email, I can give it, right? Send, I can give by dot ID, I can give it, then I can give, okay, so that is one done. By new all ID I have given it, then I can give another one called by dot name, right, I can give name. Suppose if you want to give any other more value, right, you can give it. So that's why, right, it will be there dot send keys. Okay, 1 second, let me check here. It's fine here. Driver dot find element new by all, right? So I think we need to import the by all method, right? We need to import the by all method from the org.7 openq.selenium.support.page factory, and after that I will use send keys. So but why it's not happening? Okay, let's see it first. Okay, so driver dot new while, then I can give it right. Suppose give any mistake here. So here it will be single comma thing. Now it should work. By dot id email and then comma by. Okay, no need to give that bracket again and again. Okay, by dot class comma, and here I think bracket is not required. That is the syntax dot. Okay, I need to end with colon. And after that, if I press dot send key, you can see it is coming. So that is the syntax, right? So I want to center user 1 2 3 like that. Okay, it is working fine. Okay, so similarly, if you want to add one more, right? So I can create an XPath here. Okay, so I can create an XPath here. So press Ctrl F / with the help of class, I can create XPath. I can also use the class as well. Dot input @ class comma. I can take the default as well, right? In case it is not creating problem. Anything default XPath or CSS, I can copy it, right? Let's copy CSS instead of XPath selected. So here I will be using another properties called by dot CSS selector, and I can copy paste that one. Okay. So that are the three different attribute I am using, right? And with that one, definitely I can open my Facebook page and I can perform the operation, right? But why I am using 3? So in case one ID is getting changed or it is not working matching, still it will check the next one. And if it is second name is also failed, it will go for the third one. But still your operation will be successful. That is the reason with the help of by all locators, we can add multiple attributes and through which it will be added. You can see this added, right? Test user 1 2 3. Now say I already know email it should match, but I have given it to 1, email 1, and also it is 1, so it will not match, but it will still identify with the help of CSS, right? So let's try to run. So though your email ID and name will not match, but still CSS will match, still your execution will be successful. So that is the importance of by locator. In Selenium WebDriver, it can be really useful in most of the project. So that is the reason I have tried to cover it in our courses, because it is a new term, you do not find much relevant information, right? Why it is getting failed? No, it is not getting failed. Okay, it will pass. It is taking some time. Let's close it. Let's close it. Let's try to run it once again. It is still working for that page. Okay, okay, you can see it's added, right? Sometimes it is taking time, but it is added. So your two properties got failed here, right? Your ID is not matched, email is not matched. Still, with the help of third property, it is still accessible. Similarly, it will it will check for the first one. If it is not matched, it will go for the second one. If it is still not matched, it will go for third, fourth, and like that, right? So if all is failed, suppose here also it is not matching, right? So definitely then it will throw you error that it is not able to identify the element only. That is the beauty of find element locators. So you can add multiple properties, I mean multiple element locator and their corresponding value. So in case it is one is failed, you no need to worry. With the help of the other one, it will still able to identify the element and it will able to perform the operation. Now it will throw some error because it will at all not able to find the element at all. You go here, it will throw error. It is taking some time, not sure why it is taking some time, but it will throw the error. That your element is not visible or not matching like that. Still working. Okay, you can try. Somehow it's getting problem for that web page because it is taking huge time here. You can see this still kind of red status. It's still not okay, now it is got. It is taking huge time here. You can see cannot locate an element, right? By all, right? Because everything is not accurate, right? CSS also have given it wrong value, email also wrong value, like that. So that's why you can use by element locator. Is it fine? Everyone able to understand it? Concept of.
Yeah,
Okay, very good. But that you can use. Yeah.
but now we'll be using by all or
No. You can use it in case you know that some of the things you can, because in most of the framework, right? Whenever you are reversing even some of your in-house tool also, you can found there will be 8 different elements you can also add it. All the properties you can add. There is an option for adding ID, for adding CSS, for adding XPath. So in case it is some of the in-house tool, I have noticed it. So it will take from the kind of top to bottom approach. In case one is not matching, so it can able to check with the next one. So in case you know that for some particular field there is a high chances that it can be changed, right? So you can use by all for those fields, so that your script will never fail. Got it? That is an exceptional way to handle some of the exceptions, right? That is a workaround. So instead of changing every time, you can add multiple time at same time, so that your script will never fail. This is the last topic today I will be discussing here. One is like how we can select, right, an option from the auto suggestive drop down. So we already covered frames, capture screenshot, explicit weight, how we can perform headless browser testing, handle cookie, what is the importance of by all locator. So last is like how to select an options from an auto suggestive drop down. So suppose say whenever you are opening any particular page, suppose a Google page, right, you are opening here. So I will be pasting that path in my code here. Okay, so that's page I want to deal. Suppose say here you will be pasting, suppose you want to search with Selenium, right, and you want to click Selenium tutorial. So you can see now it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 option, right? Okay, you just typing some of the keyword and you want to select a Selenium tutorial here. So now you can see this 5th option, right, or 6th option, whatever is there, and if you select it, it will navigate to a page, right? Again next time if you open the Google page, right, and if you type Selenium again, you can see Selenium tutorial is coming fast because its position is getting changed, right? Then how through script you can identify it, because every time its position gets changed, new more field can added, right, with the help of Selenium. Right now you can see here 11 of 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. It can be more options will be there. You can remove some of the options from suggestion box, right? So how can you select only with the help of Selenium, that Selenium tutorial? So that is the called selecting something from the auto suggestive drop down. So because most of the interviewers they have asked the question, so that is the reason. Also it is a very tricky, it's also really important in your framework also. Sometime you need to implement it. So while user navigating to any software website and with search box, basically it deals with search box, and that search box show auto suggest list, right, when you type some keyword inside it. Simple way, suppose in the Google search box you are typing something, so you will need to provide it will give you list of options, and every time options can change, options position can change, but you need to also click on some of the item, right? So how can you do that, right? So first you already identify that element, right? You definitely can identify the element. So with the properties, right? So say I am identifying the element here first. Let's press F12 button here. F12 button here. Let's first identify the search button, search box. Okay. Then you need to provide some value here. Okay. So what is the different part is here for the search button? Okay, you can see name is Q. With the name of Q, I can access the search button. So driver dot find element by dot, what is that operator? Is name by dot name dot name. The help of the name is Q. I want to add key called send keys with Selenium. Then with that key I want to click Selenium web developer from the list of options, right? So next thing you need to do it, you need to click create an export here for the list of options, right? So suppose say if you type Selenium, you will be getting list of options, so you need to inspect it. Suppose if you move your cursor here, you can see this is the class is coming, right, or this is your parent class. So if you select the parent class, you can find all the options here. So with the class you can definitely get all the options. Control F, Control V. You can see this is the, you can see one of 12 element is there, right? If you press enter, you get getting all the options one by option. So now it is 12 element is there, right? So with that help of that class, right, you can create an export here also, right? Right, so I'll be creating an export. So what is the div is the, there is that, so slash div, and I am giving at the rate of class, comma, and the value of the class. So that's why I can create export, right? Sorry, value of the class, it will be equal to sign, not the comma sign. So I'll be creating export. You can see export 1 of 11 element, because initially it was 12 giving, so 12, so it is the to 11 element, and if you press, you can see all the options is getting navigated one by one, right? This is 11 element. So with the help of expert, you can use find elements, not only find elements, right? So I'll be using find elements because I want to get all the options, right? So return type you already see by list, right? Because in case if you do not see the return type, you can again see driver dot find elements. You can see list web element, then you will be storing by dot export, okay, and I am storing it list web element, and this is my variable name will be options, storing it, and I will be cloning with semicolon here. I think that's the line of code I need to write here. You can see error message, so I need to import, I think, list from the java.util package. I think this error message is gone, right? Then if you want to print the size, how many options is there, right? Let's try to see how many options is there. So how can you print? Then options variable dot size. So it should match exactly with 11, right? Dot size. Okay. Let's first try to run this code. Let's see whether it is matching with that one. 11 options, right? Let's see. So as and when you are entering send keys with Selenium, so it will give you 11 suggestion. It can change definitely in case more suggestion is coming, but for now, in case nothing is changing, so it should give me the 11 result as 11. After that, I will be using a for loop, and in case particular context or text is getting matched, so that I will be clicking on that option Selenium tutorial. You can see now it is changing to third position, right? So every time position and options can get changed, but still I want to click on a particular options. And now if you go here, you can see the option is coming as 11, so it is matching. Now I need to click something, right, with Selenium tutorial. So here I will be using a for loop. For loop, this is the context of for loop. I equal to 0 and it will go I less than options dot size. That is that part, it will go I plus plus. See, already know if you use an for loop and then if you use an if loop, right, if condition, then your condition will be matched. So I plus plus, and here I will be giving an if condition, right? If, so in the for loop I will be giving the condition in case condition is getting matched. So integer I equal to 0, I less than option size. So I will be giving if option, right, dot get of I. So I think it's already discussed, I think one of the time, for find elements get of I dot get text, right, if that particular thing is matching, right, dot equal ignore case, equal ignore case. With the ignoring casing, I just want to validate Selenium tutorial part only. I want to select that options, right? So in case it is matching with equal ignore case, then I will be selecting it, right? Then I will be selecting it. Then what happens? I will be want to click on that options, right? So options dot get of I, and then I want to click on that one dot click. And after that I want to break my loop, because once it is matching there is no point of iterating it. That is simple lines of code I will be writing, and you can see Selenium tutorial will be selected by default. If you want to select other thing, or if you want to pass other thing, so similar way you need to create an XPath accordingly, because XPath can change every time, right? And it will be selected that option. So that's why you can select an auto suggestive drop down options based on a requirement, and that may be used multiple times in your real time project as well. Sometime interviewer can ask the question from that area. So please be remember that concept, how you can do the selection. So it will open the Google page, it will search, it will type the Selenium keyword, right? You can see after that it will get all the option and in selecting Selenium tutorial. So that's why you can select an option from the auto suggestive option. This is really important. Okay, so that's all from today's session. Thank you.